Hi guys, today's YouTube video is all about blended families and what are some important considerations to think about as you're blending the family together. First, I want to give you two really great resources that I have used in my practice. This is the first one. It's called StepCoupling. It's a great book that really helps couples focus on their relationship and what are the issues that come up when the couple marries and the family is blended. There's some great resources in here, and when I talk today, a lot of the information that I get is from this book. The second book that I use is Helping Your Kids Cope with Divorce, The Sandcastle Way. This is another great book, and yes, it's super thick, but it also goes through different developmental stages of your children and how to talk to them about divorce and how to talk to them about blending families, new partners, and really as a parent, what we need to consider when we are blending families and how to talk to them. So these are really two great resources. So when we're looking at blended families, we're really looking at, in my opinion, 3 or 4 different systems. We're looking at the family, we're looking at children, we're looking at your couple's relationship, and then really just relationships in general in the context of the family relationship, the step parenting, if there's kids coming from both sides. So it's really these 3 areas. Couple, family, children, and then the relationships within those. And so what are some things that we really need to consider while we're going through each of those? So first, when I have a couple come in with some blended family issues, the first thing I do is I talk about their relationship. And even in the StepCoupling book, one of the really great messages within that whole book is really it takes your relationship with one another, your marital relationship or your partnership, that is the most important one. And as long as that can continue to stay strong, it will help with the mix, how to grow your relationship with the children that are involved. And, let's face it, statistically, the second marriages end in divorce, even more than first marriages. So it's hard. And that doesn't mean don't do it. It just means you have to know what to think about, how to communicate, how to come together as a family. In fact, the Step Family Association of America states that, or estimates that it's about 4 to 7 years before a step family feels like a family. And if you think about it, that's a long time. And again, that's not meant to discourage you. It's just meant to know, this is going to take a lot of work, and we need to be cautious and careful to understand what we're doing. We can't make demands or create disrespect or even talk badly about the other parent. This is about our new family, our blended family. So first, when I have couples come in, we talk about their relationship and in what ways are they nurturing their couple's relationship. As long as they can continue to nurture their couple's relationship, make time for communication, learn those conflict management skills, understand and validate each person's perspective. The bio parent, don't demand that the step parent have this automatic relationship with their children. And create healthy boundaries, create space to talk about frustrations, and also create space to talk about joy. And really, you two start talking about what's the meaning of a blended family, what sort of roles you both want to play in this relationship, and really how you're going to support one another as things or issues come up. The biggest, one of the biggest things I tell couples is when you're negotiating, when you're talking about what is it that we want our blended family to look like and what are our roles, it's also important not only to talk about boundaries, but also to talk about how you see yourself, if you're the step parent, how you see yourself as a step parent. And in terms of, I get asked a lot of questions about discipline, who disciplines, and how do we do that? So I think it's really important. This is why we create space for open communication. And then the other thing is, how are we really coming together to celebrate our relationship? As I said, how do we nurture our relationship is important. So another system is our family system, and this goes back to what's the meaning of family and really creating time for bonding and even participating like with your kids. What makes our family unique now, and how do we want to celebrate that every day? So really taking time to say, as a family, whoever is in that new family, what makes us unique and how do we celebrate that daily, I think is really important. And understand, first, kids are going to have a harder time because this is not something that they asked for. And, so there might be times when they don't want to participate. This is why you and your new partner, you set healthy boundaries to really understand how we cope with that, or how we work through that when one of the kids might be a little bit more resistant. Which leads us into our next system, the children. I think the biggest thing is give them time. Understand, like I said earlier, they didn't ask for this new family. And depending on how long it's been since the divorce, they also might still be grieving the loss of their first family. So, give them space and time, and also allow for some, mixing of doing things together as a family. Also, the bio parent, please spend time with your biological children, not to create too many families under the same roof, but just to still nurture that relationship, because one of the things in the beginning that a child misses is really just that individual time with their biological parent. So make sure you make time for that as well. The other thing is understand that it is going to take time for a child to transition into the new blended family. And there's not always going to be this like instant, oh, we love each other and this is great between the parents and the kids. So take time to nurture that relationship as well. And if there's children on both sides coming in, allow boundaries, how they're going to come together and start, functioning as step kids and, brothers and sisters. You can also say, like, things are going to be different and work together as a family. One of the things I have families do is to create family meetings. So in our new family, what are some rules or promises that we want to make to each other? What are some consequences if someone breaks those family rules? And I think it's good that we start doing family meetings weekly in the beginning, just as a way to create open space for communication amongst everyone in your new family system. And that's another place where you can, have some fun too. It's come together, we talk about, what's going on in the family that needs to be discussed, and then doing a fun family activity at the end. I think that is really important. And as parents, we need to remember forgiveness is key. Kids sometimes want to act out when they're hurting or they're anxious or they're still sad or grieving the loss of the first marriage. So forgive them. And remember that it's not about you. And if you find yourself wanting to compete with the other parent or getting caught up in a power struggle, first go back to the partner and talk about your struggles. Secondly, understand that you're in this together and that you're trying to work through things. And then if you're really struggling, I think it would be important to go meet with a therapist to talk through some of the really difficult issues that can arise in a blended family. Most importantly, do not compete with the ex. That will only hurt your relationship with the children, and it will also hurt your relationship with your partner. In the blended family book, the StepCoupling book, one of the things that she talks about are the 3 C's, and it's communication and connection and co-parenting. And I really like that model of the 3 C's that she talks about in that book. So how are we creating space for open communication within the context of our couple's relationship and the context of our family relationship? And what are some communication issues that might arise? Conflict, our roles, how are we doing things, who's doing what in the family? And when we feel disappointment or frustration, how do we talk about that? Connection, how are we creating space for connection? And in our partnership and our couple's relationship, as well as in the parent-child roles. Creating connection is key. Instead of making demands of the step parent and the child, you've got to have a good relationship. You have to do this or you have to do that to either the parent or the child. They're going to kind of rebel against that. Instead, create space for how can we create connection and really get to know each other. So, it's both the step and the bio child, the step parent and the bio child, they're learning about one another. And so you want to create space for connection. Family meetings, outings, even just, having rituals, rituals of family activities, I think is important. And then co-parenting, so in the couple's relationship, how are we parenting? What's our roles of parents? How did we learn about parenting? What's my belief system about being mom or dad? Or what's my belief system about being a step parent? It's good to really clearly define those. And then, you're going to have some conversations about what kind of co-parenting relationship you're having with the ex. Now, this is one that could be a whole new video, and I'll probably do that. But really, remember, don't compete. If you're getting frustrated with the ex, don't bring that back to your children. Talk about it with one another. What are some healthy boundaries? What's okay? What isn't okay? And really remember, co-parenting is not about anything except what can we do that is going to be in the best interest of the children that are involved. Remember, guys, they didn't ask their parents to get divorced, and I know divorce can get really ugly sometimes. As the parent, it's our job to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, and those frustrating moments when our ex does something that might trigger us, if we take that back to the kids, it hurts our relationship with the kids. It doesn't hurt the exes. And there's no reason to give that attention. The only reason why you would say anything when it comes to the ex, what's in your control, what's out of your control. If there's any abuse or drug, substance use, then that's something different that, yes, you need to take action for. But it's really looking at what's in my control here, what's out of my control. What happens at mom or dad, at the ex's house, doesn't mean it's going to happen at your house. So having those boundaries and how you communicate that to your children is important. Again, in a way that's not putting down the other parent. It's okay to separate. Those are the family rules at dad's house. They're not at our house. At our house, we have this set of rules. So just reminding them, because sometimes kids want to kind of throw it in your face of, oh, well, dad lets me do this or mom lets me do this. And that's really to get you in a power struggle. So setting boundaries, just says, hey, we're not going to go there. I don't have control over what happens at mom or dad's house, but we're talking about what's happening here at our house. So co-parenting. So the 3 C's, connection, communication, and co-parenting. How are we defining those rules? How are we creating space for connection, communication? And really, when we start to feel frustration with the ex, how do we kind of just bring that back to the partnership instead of really creating space that, letting the kids be involved in that. So this is just a really short video on what are some first important steps or considerations as you're blending a family. And again, those resources, I'll put links in the comment section about helping your kids cope with divorce, the Sandcastle Way, the Step Family Association of America, and also the StepCoupling book. Those are 3 great resources. All right, thanks for watching this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for weekly updates all about relationships. Have a great day.